Net-a-Porter and Virgin Megastore. What did motivate you to have your own companies?
I don't like to be in a job where I'm not managing the business, but I'm managing the politics.
You're no longer an executive from a big company that people want to talk to. Did you feel that difference in treatment?
A long time ago, I decided I will not be defined by the company I work for.
What is one thing that gives you oxygen when you think it's challenging? Hi guys, welcome to my new episode, Brands Through Stories. I'd like to thank you for watching us, for subscribing to our channel. It's growing and it's all because of your support. From our side, we promise you to create every episode super engaging, fun and insightful to watch. Please enjoy. Before we record each episode, we meet with our guest and come up with a working title. And I was thinking for today's episode, the working title was super important even for the introduction. The working title of today's episode is Put Your Oxygen Mask Before You Start Your Entrepreneurial Journey. Dubai, Middle East, the region is growing. We have businesses opening every day. But is it that easy? Why do you need a mask before you start your entrepreneurial journey? How can you survive in this highly competitive environment? And if you're a great corporate CEO, does it mean you're going to be an effective and great CEO of your own startup? Today, my guest is the perfect person to answer these questions. Please welcome my guest, Nisreen Shocair. She has multiple executive roles at the companies like Net-a-Porter, Virgin Megastore. She was on the board of IKEA and Maghrabi. And today, she has her own entrepreneurial journey. She is a big supporter of startups and she is a founder and co-founder of 3 businesses. Art of Music, Art of Rare and Vintage, and Showcase Network, a luxury and investment consultancy. Please, guys, welcome my guest, Nisreen.
Thank you, Nina. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you so much. It took us, I think, almost a year to coordinate our schedules.
But we found the perfect title, right? And the perfect time.
I was thinking, shall I mention this title or no? I thought it was great.
It's very good. Put your oxygen mask on in general. Put your oxygen mask on first in life, post-divorce, pregnancy. It works in any situation.
Have your own mask all the time.
Yes, exactly.
I thought it was brilliant. You came up with this title and I thought it was brave and brilliant, and I can't agree more with you. 20 years of entrepreneurial journey. I have 3 masks with me, I think. Mother, wife.
About it. Yes.
I want to start with a question that actually I had from day one I've met you. You had a career that a lot of people would dream of, right?
Yes.
I mean, CEO of Net-a-Porter and Virgin Megastore for MENA region and so on. It's a dream job.
Yes.
Why? What did motivate you to go into this unknown, unstable, full of risks journey to have your own companies?
I don't like comfort. I don't like when things become too easy. Right? Even the businesses I go into, if you gave me a job my job was to run it and just take care of the employees and run it the same old way every day, that's not for me. That's not the job for me. I don't like to be in a job where I'm not managing the business, but I'm managing the politics, the employee issues, of course, I'm there for my team. But that becomes boring, right?
Yeah.
Start your own thing. You'll travel less. You'll have more time. You can drop us off at school. You can pick us up from school. All that is gone out the window, right? Because this is very different now. You are 100% fully responsible, not just for the business and not just for your customers. Before all that, your employees. And as you know, we're in the Middle East, so we have to take care of our employees and who they take care of,
Absolutely.
Right? As well. So it's quite a responsibility. It's a big responsibility.
I think so, yeah. And I wanted to ask you, what do you feel the difference between running your business in New York in London and here, I think what you've mentioned is having responsibility. And it's
Yes.
not just paying their salaries, it's for how they
We
live.
are a lot more emotionally at stake here.
Yes.
Every employee is managing and taking care of at least 3-4 people back home,
Yeah.
other than their own
Yeah.
family, right?
Yeah.
Parents and so on. So the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
In the US, every person is working for their own self, taking care of their own family only. When they leave, there's less of this emotional connection. Here, we are very emotionally charged, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as the economy becomes tougher and tougher, as people are not finding jobs as they used to before, because a lot more people have come into the market, not because the economy is bad, but it's become competitive, which is good.
Yeah.
You sense people that there's a level of anxiety that
Yeah.
did not exist as much before, that you need to resolve and work with.
So now now to your colleagues from corporate world, successful CEOs
Yes.
and executives, what would you tell them today? Those who are thinking, never
got
tried
a
to do
lovely
this.
note from someone I love from Virgin, and he said to me, "Can we have a chat next time you're in
Yeah.
London?
Yeah.
And I just want to know, I want to learn from you, how do you go from one industry to the other so easily? And then how do you jump from corporate to owning your own businesses, 3 at once,
Yeah.
you know?" And it was the first time I saw it from somebody else's point of view. For me, it was natural. I was looking for always this challenge, right? And this is beautiful. This is the most important of all, because now it's legacy. I want to build something for the kids or anybody in the family who wants to be part of the business and the journey for many years. So it's a different story now. But for the first time, it occurred to me that people are watching
What are you doing?
what you're doing. And I guess people are always watching, but more so now in the social media world. And even though I don't share probably a quarter of what I should share or a tenth of what I should share, but they see it as a possibility. And that's important. A lot of times when someone starts in a career, they feel they're stuck to it, or an industry, they're stuck to it. Go into construction, they can't leave. Oil and gas, they can't leave. Entertainment, they can't leave. You always have a choice to leave. There will be some compromises. You may have to spend 6 months maybe relearning. You may have to take a lower position. You may have to take a salary cut. Or maybe
I think you
sometimes
always take a salary cut.
Yeah.
That's
or it could catapult you,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It could be short term.
Yeah.
But the advantages are tremendous. And I learned them from someone else, actually. I saw that he changed 7 careers, 7 industries, when I changed 2. And I found him a lot more interesting and fascinating to talk to than I was. And I found that he knew a lot more about business than I did. And I said to him, you know what? I'm going to start doing what you're doing. Even though I'm doing it later in life, I'm going to start learning about new industries. And that helped me because it actually all comes together at one point. I always choose careers that I like. I think I've made one mistake once in my life to work in an industry I don't like. But otherwise, I've always worked in industries and businesses that I have a passion for. It gets me up in the morning. And part of it is I find excitement in things. So even if the industry might be boring, I'll find somebody in the business that I like. I'll find somebody I look up to. It could be a peer, somebody on the team. I always find that optimistic side of where I landed as a learning opportunity.
I think from my own experience, entrepreneur, I think without optimism, there's no survival.
Totally.
You
Every
have to
day,
be.
every day you wake up, especially when the raft is sinking sometimes, and you feel you're going to lose it all, right? Done. It's finished. Like you're going to have to close shop.
Yeah.
And that is the scariest feeling in the world. I've had to shut down businesses before, businesses where I was the CEO of. And that was hard. I mean, telling 100 people you have to leave. And we all ended up in the worst time. It was pre-Ramadan, but it's different when it's your own business, right? You think about reputation, you think about
Oh, I failed.
I failed,
Yeah.
you know, you think about the employees,
Yeah.
the salaries,
Yeah.
all of that. Luckily, the greatest gift we've learned is how to survive and how to make an impossible situation work. And there is no learning without failure. There just isn't. The hiccups are the moments of growth. Those are it, right? So it's like planting flowers. Those were the moments when I think back, we've had 3 of them where we thought, this is it. We're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And then we emerge bigger and stronger than ever before. But it meant taking that notebook, going back to the drawing board, agreeing on what's important and what isn't, agreeing on what not to do is the most important business decision.
I think this is, I can't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Knowing what you don't want to do, what's not important.
Yeah, because it costs
It's
money,
it's very
costs
powerful.
time, costs
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And then I believe in the bottom 15%, like I believe in the top 5. So to be able to keep your top 5, and it's all about people, you got to get rid of the bottom 15. And yes, it's a tough decision.
It sounds very tough.
Yeah, especially when you're a small team.
Yeah.
When you're a big
Yeah.
team, big organization, what's a few employees? Although they all matter, right? At the end of the day, they're human. But it doesn't impact the organization like when you're a small team and you have to let, let's say, 5 people go. It looks like half the team is going, right? Because they develop relationships and friendships and so on. And a lot of people know they're not performing. But that's why you have to be careful to run it as a business and not as a family.
As a family. Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
I learned this a long time ago. So from day one, we did not run this as a family because we did not one day have to tell the employees, we're no longer a family. You know, we run it with respect. We run it with rules and regulations and all the good things and all the upsides and all the things you want to get. But there's no need. You have your own family. Go home to your family. Vacation with your family. This is work. It helps then when you're dealing with conflict or when you're having appraisals. Things are not emotional. They're not personal.
I've heard the phrase that if you hear, I don't remember who said that, but it was, if you hear somebody's telling you, if your employer is telling you, we're family, run away from that company because it means they'll take advantage of you.
Totally. I've worked in some of them. They went from being a family to then being a corporation with partners, with investors. They could no longer, and people stayed with them because they loved the brothers. And that's not the reason you should stay in a company because of the founders. You should be there because you love your job, because you're growing, because you're saving, because this is the right future for you, not because you love the founders. Because one day their kids will take over and maybe you won't love the kids as much as you love the founders. And we have few examples now with the second generation where a lot of employees are disgruntled because they miss the father. You know, they're not as happy with the sons or whatever.
Yeah. But please, my team, don't take it. Don't listen to this. I still run all my businesses as family. We love each other. We help each other. I know it's I know it's not really sometimes probably the right way,
No,
but I
it's
think that's
very
how
nice.
I've
So
been.
I said, like working with Richard Branson, I've learned a lot. Your employees come first. And we are with one another till now best friends. So when you create a culture in the company where the employees can become one another's best friends, when they start inviting one another to their own, maybe they go on holiday together, then you've created the right environment for them to love what they do,
Yeah.
right? And so it's got the elements of family in the right way, but it's exactly that quote. What then happens is it stops you from being honest. So this morning, I told two people on my management team, I have this book, Dealing with Conflict. And I said, we have a weekly get together. We go have a nice lunch. We get to talk about just like a relationship, all the things that are working, not working, etc. And I said, before you come to the lunch, read the book, Dealing with Conflict, because I want you guys to look one another in the eye and tell one another what you're not happy with. And I think that this is what happens when they start off as a family, then they cannot deal with conflict. And this is a downward spiral that you cannot get out of. And it can take years then to get rid of the non-performers. And we've all been there, right?
And I think here in the Middle East, or in Dubai in particular, we don't have really a lot of family members. So again, they start getting attachment to each other, right? To create that connection and support. Yes. And because we work 24/7,
yes,
the only
you
family
see them
we
more.
have, yes,
you see them more than family.
Yes,
correct.
Have you felt, so when you were at the corporate roles, you were Nisreen, CEO of this and this company. And then when you left, you can't anymore associate, right? You're no longer an executive from a big company that people want to talk to.
Yes.
You're becoming Nisreen. Did you feel that difference in treatments when people approach you, or it wasn't?
No.
No?
And maybe this is good for anybody listening. A long time ago, I decided I will not be defined by the company I work for. And a lot of people go down that path of getting too stuck to their business card and thinking that the company made them. You made the company. You made that success story. You created that project. You made that work. They didn't. They assisted you. They said yes, but you created that success. And people know the difference. The media knows the difference. The best awards I got was after I left Net-a-Porter. The best. Like the top lists I got on, the top 100, not top 100 Arab women, top 100 business leaders. That for me is much important than woman, Arab. No definition like that. Most of the successes I had, let's say in terms of the attention that the media would normally give you, or the rankings or whatever, came after I left. So it's important because a lot of people are afraid to lose that. And so what if you lose that? I was reading this amazing book called From Strength to Strength. And it talks about how you create your best success in your 20s. Most people cannot create another success. Some people can create a second one. Almost none can create a third. Bach created his best music in his 20s. Then, little known story is that his sons became the best composers. Rather than deciding that he's going to create his next masterpieces in his 30s and 40s, he decided to mentor his children for them to be better than him. Because this book says we become addicted to success. It's an addiction. We become addicted to PR, to the attention. What happens if you don't get it? It's okay. If you're enjoying your job, enjoying what you're doing, if you're creating products that people enjoy, then that's success alone. People notice it. If your customers notice it, that's good enough. I don't need the media to notice it, right? I created the 20% club recently that I'm very, very proud of. If the media notices and gives me a well done applause, great. If they don't, I don't really care. I've created the social impact I've been dreaming of
What
my
is
whole
the
career.
club? I'd like to
The
notice.
20% club is a certification that you get. It's a global certification. You have to give 20% back. There are a lot of projects that talk about environmental givebacks. I don't like them because they foster bad behavior. You continue to buy plastic bottles, but then you do something on the side, it cancels it out. It doesn't. We still have an island in the Atlantic that's made out of plastic that will never go away. So the 20% club is that you have to give 10% to one thing, 10% to something else, and it has to be a social movement. It has to be a social initiative. So with our music schools, 10% of the lessons are scholarships. 10% are for kids with special needs, kids or adults. So that's my 20%. Now we're helping other businesses achieve that. Give you an idea. You could be a restaurant and you decide whether from your existing food or you can create extra food where you give away 10% of the meals to labor camps where they can eat a healthy meal. And you can employ 10% of your employees who have special needs, and you teach them how to be chefs, or, imagine a chef in the kitchen on a wheelchair. Why not? It means you have to change the table. You have to do something that is outside of your comfort zone. It has to impact your P&L in one way, so you have to make an investment. Because my belief is that businesses that don't give back, just like brands that don't have stories, don't make it long term. They just don't. Because the customers are attached to businesses that give back.
I'm a big believer in businesses with purpose. I know the word purpose is being so much overused these days.
It's great.
But something that has a meaning. But I'll tell you from my experience, more and more potential clients to meet and talk to people, they use the words sustainability, care, 3Ps, and so on, right? But the minute you start talking and really taking it on board with them and implementing as part of your business model, a lot of are reluctant to do it.
Correct.
With your movement, I think it's an incredible movement. With your movement, did you find it difficult to convince people that doing good is also great for business?
No, and the key thing is that they should be willing to do it without announcing it.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is very important.
Not your PR, yeah.
It should not be used as PR.
Yeah.
You don't see anything on our doors that talk about the fact that we offer scholarships or that we give lessons to kids with special needs. We don't do that because that defeats the purpose. The fact is that a lot of the people that we've spoken to have found a way to do it in a way that does not have a serious negative impact on the business. So if you're a restaurant, to generate extra meals from food that anyway is going to probably go to waste is easy. You just have to be creative. Like, put your Top Chef hat on. Create a Top Chef show within your kitchen and let your employees come up with recipes and healthy food and whatever. Make it a challenge, right? So it doesn't have to take away from the business. It can be something they add on to the business, and then they offer it as a healthy meal, right?
Yeah. But what do you think? I'm a big supporter of this. However, just to be a devil's advocate, this place is super highly competitive, full of opportunities, highly competitive.
Correct.
Quite challenging in terms of how much money you need investments to start. I don't know if you're a fashion business, for example.
Any business.
F&B. It's incredible investments that you require. So if I can't use it as the owner in my PR, and it's affects my bottom line negatively, negatively, right? Then why would I do it?
It's a seal. So we give you a seal and you put it on your door, you put it on your materials, you talk about it in any of the programs, but you just say that we are part of the 20% club.
And it all says
That's
it
it.
all.
Then the customer or anybody who's viewing can go take a look at what the 20% club means, right? Don't forget that they also network from within one another. So then we start introducing them to one another. So it's a membership that you're not paying for the membership, but it's access to the 20% club. What you find is that the people who are interested in 20% club are leaders who anyway have that level of thinking and are ready to
Yeah.
go on that journey. I was at a YPO CEO forum in Milan, and I was talking about what we did with the 20%. 5 people on my table said, teach me, train me. My business, one person said, my business has no soul. You can help me give my business purpose and soul. I feel we do good money, we're making good business, but we have no soul. And our customers and our employees, more importantly, feel it. They want to belong to a business that has a soul. So it could be a short-term gain for the company, but without a doubt, there is a long-term gain. But they can use that seal on anything.
And I have goosebumps because I've been advocating this for 20 years
There you
being
go.
here. And I think now is really, it started picking
Yes.
up. Now we realize with all of this, it's the soul, is our essence that is beyond money that would make a big difference.
And social, we need to have a social impact,
Yeah.
not an environmental impact. Environmental impact has become part of our lives. Hopefully with this, social impact as well, right? We need to give back to society as we know it. Because the way when people come to this country is, let me make money,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to leave. Most of the people we know never left.
Oh, they left and then they came
Came
back.
back.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
you want to give back?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we stop saying the government should do? So I hear a lot. The government should do more for people with special needs. As an example, why? Why can't companies do more? Why do our restaurants not hire them? Why do our shops not hire them? Virgin was the only retailer that hired people with special needs, cerebral palsy, speech impediment, not in the back room, not in the stock room. They had Down syndrome on the shop floor. In the US, they get paid 20-30% of a average hourly rate. It was equal, right? And I didn't even have to think about it. Of course,
It was
it's
just
equal. And they worked normal hours. They worked evenings. They worked weekends. It's beautiful because they were socially integrated. They made friends. And our employees and our managers learned how to deal with an employee who maybe in the course of their life, they had not had the chance to manage them. You know, a bit of patience, a little bit of understanding, more training. But the customer's feedback was phenomenal, so positive.
So to become it's beautiful. To become a 20% club member, what are the requirements? What do you need? How do you check that I do what I say?
There's a scorecard.
Right.
Simple, not one of those like environmental ones that are like you need to have a
1 year
degree in
certification.
aeronautic engineering to figure it out. It's a simple scorecard, but you need to train for it. And we find ways where within your own resources that we add it onto the business rather than taking it from the business. So we find advocates within the company who want to actually work an extra hour a week to contribute to the cause, right? And it goes on their KPIs, for example. You know,
right.
that it's an added KPI. like
Right.
extra credit at school, you know. They get a little gift maybe from Sephora because they put in those 5 extra hours, and that generated. I'm using the restaurant as an example. That generated those extra 10% meals because they put in those extra hours. You know, it's so easy to do once you understand their business, and it's a beautiful thing because 80% of customers, they want to shop with a brand that is giving something back to their own society. Not somewhere in the US or Guatemala or, a place they've never heard of, to their own community. So if you're a Saudi-based company, that Saudi customer wants to know that this is a business that gives back to Saudi Arabia. Doesn't give back to Dubai. Same if you're in the
Yeah.
UAE, you want to give back. And what I love about it is it's year round, not just in Ramadan. We
Yeah.
decide to feed the
Yeah.
poor in
Yeah.
Ramadan. We should be able to feed people who need healthy food all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody needs help with their bills. Think of hospitals. Part of the 20% could be to take some people without insurance, to treat them for simple ailments. That's good. So you say to people, this hospital network, I won't mention names, but one of them we're working with now, this hospital network in so-and-so branch, so branches that have extra space, extra time, maybe they're not fully occupied yet, we are accepting for dentist appointments, mammogram screening, etc., etc. Please book in your slot. We will take you uninsured.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the word of mouth?
Yeah, that's exactly, that's your reputation, that's your PR without saying it.
And that
It's,
community that is uninsured is the one that is going to speak amongst its friends the loudest, because if they're even on Salama or one of the basic insurance policies, I don't know that they're covered maybe for an eye test. Maybe their kid can't see the board at
Yeah.
school. And you know that the difference between seeing the board and not seeing the board is a C or a D or an A. That's the difference it can make. So
Yeah.
that's the other part of the 20% club, is to show the net effect on society. If we're able to increase, the visibility of X number of students, and we can see the report card the last 3 years versus the next 2 years, and they ended up going to a good school, ended up getting a scholarship, ended up whatever, then you've shown an impact of just one eye test.
It's incredible. And I think the way you put it, and I'm so glad to see it here now, because it used to be, do you remember the times, you've been here forever also, right?
Yes.
We're a little bit of a,
Yeah.
call us dinosaurs in a good way,
Yes,
not as
yes.
we're young, beautiful women. But
I consider we are young and beautiful. I consider we are part of the building blocks of the UAE.
We built it. It's so true. But do you remember that it was the time when go to America, bring the ideas, bring
Yes.
them and implement them here. What's good in America is great. What's great in London is now it's the other way, right?
Yes.
Now it's made in the UAE. What did you do? Born out of this place.
Totally.
That's what makes the difference now and impact.
We
And I
tell
think-
designers the same thing. You need to create a product that says made in the UAE.
It's powerful today.
It's the fourth capital.
Powerful. Yeah. I want to ask you a little bit. I think it's beautiful club. I definitely want to explore and become part of it. And I'm a big supporter of this. In terms of the CEO, now you've been so now with great work that you're doing and 3 businesses you're owning, being a great CEO and very good CEO in corporate world, does it mean you're a great CEO of your
No.
own startup?
No,
Are you a great CEO of your own startups?
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What
I'm
do
on
you
a
think
journey.
is the difference?
It's your own money. So we're fully self-funded. So naturally, it makes you very emotionally attached. So there's a big difference. I'm not saying you're not attached as a CEO, because you should always treat it as shareholder value. But there's a different journey that you go on. Again, it's a smaller team, so by nature you're closer to them. The difference is that as an entrepreneur, you're working on yourself. At the same time, you're taking care of building a business. It's super tough. You're creating the solid foundation. You're talking about 7 days a week. You're exhausted. You're tired. You're trying not to blow up. You're trying not to see another thing go wrong. And, why is this not done? Because, you need thousands of people probably to get the work done. Instead, you don't have thousands of people. What I decided to do was, when I decided to take the step, I hired a coach. And that coach has been incredible by my side, helping me on the journey of how to be a CEO of my own business. For example, not thinking that the salary I give them is my money, which I never thought of it as such, by the way. Never. I never thought, oh, I can't afford this bag, as an example, because I pay those 3 people that salary. I never did. But you can see how easily you can fall into that trap, right? So I treat it as if it's a budget that's been given to me by corporate, right? And I manage it that way. There's no emotion attached to that. It's a salary, it's a bonus, it's their right, it's given to them, has nothing to do with me. At the end of the day, they're doing their job and we have a good return. And, knock on wood, that's where you want the business to be.
I think it's such an important point. I have, from my personal experience with my previous businesses, experience like that with my partners, where they looked at salaries as something that they're losing. It was always that, oh, this is coming out of my pockets,
Can't see it
and
that
this
way.
they don't deserve, some of them, and I think, oh, I'm losing money and so on. And I think it's one of the first thing, I agree. You look at it as an investment. You are
That's
the
it.
owning the company. Company
Yes.
is your asset. People are your asset.
Totally.
So absolutely, I think it's a great
That's an
advice.
example, one
Yeah,
of many.
yeah.
But
One of,
even discipline around how you manage your time, making sure that you give regular feedback, putting in place the elements of the daily meetings. I'm very strict about daily meetings. In any business that I've been in, I think you were going to ask a question about that, but I'm big on.
I'm going to get
No,
to
okay,
the
so I'll
time
stop.
management.
Yeah.
No, please.
But
I would love to know.
But you can't treat it as, now that you own your own business, that, you can basically leave when you want to and come in when you want to. If you say that this is the time when we all come in, this is when we all come in. Unless, for example, what I do is 2 days a week, I meet different people on the other side of town, because when we're in Al-Quoz, and most of the people I deal with are in around D3 and so on. So I know that I have 2 days from this hour to this hour. I'm in the arts club and my meetings are there before 12, right? So my team knows. They know that she's there to do those meetings, and then I'm free in that sense, and I can do, and then I moved to Zoom. I started doing more and more of my meetings by Zoom rather than having to do them in person, because it takes up a lot of time. And my team right now need me. They need my time. So if it's anybody external, we do it by Zoom. I dropped it from 1 hour to 45 minutes, and soon it will be 40 minutes, because you can do a lot in 40 minutes. If you start the meeting with an agenda, with a clear idea of what you're going to talk about, you can finish the meeting in 30 to 40 minutes. You don't need to take an hour. And it saves up a lot of time then to spend it with your team who really need you.
I love the time management. I think I still have a lot to learn in terms of, I feel, as an entrepreneur, and I've been only that, I don't know, I've been in corporate world for 2 years. I knew it wasn't my thing. So I think you feel like you're 24/7. That's the time you just give and give and give, where I think the time management is crucial. Otherwise, complete burnout.
Yes.
And that's why I'm on this thing that I've been, I think, asking all my guests and friends, is there work-life balance?
When you have kids, it's enforced. You have to, for their sake, you have to have work-life balance. It's not fair to them that they have to pay the price. The hardest thing is getting and sitting down at a table at dinner and talking work. I hate that. For me, it should not happen. It it starts happening naturally, but if there's something I'd like to work on is that because for us, dinner time is sacred. I love to hear about what the boys are up to, but what goals they scored, but I'd rather not talk about my business. I want to talk about something else related to me. Something, maybe a book I'm reading, or a new song I heard, or maybe we'll watch football while we're having dinner. That's okay. But that's something that we need to work hard on, because work-life balance is critical. I already come home at a later hour than I would like to. The next step for me is to start coming home a little bit earlier and finishing the day working from home, because maybe others in the office then can start enjoying that privilege. But right now we're building a culture, so we all really have to be together. Let's say for the next year or so, we really all need that FaceTime.
What about yourself? Do you have time? No, because
No.
work-life balance.
No.
I'm the mother too,
No.
so I know for work, kids,
No,
family. Yeah,
no, it's very hard.
can we? Yeah,
And they ask me this question all the time. You were so busy at Net-a-Porter, you were so busy at Virgin, you were working all the time. I said, I know, but for some reason, maybe because I'm so vested that even when I'm walking, talking, eating, I'm thinking about, how am I solving this? Who am I calling? What's next on my list? It's never ending. And the list of to-dos, you cannot outsource it to someone, right?
You
You're the
cannot
owner.
increase it all.
DHL wants to meet with you. So-and-so wants to meet with you, and you become the bottleneck. So I would say the hardest thing, I said, it's the longest I've gone without getting my hair done. The longest I've gone without getting my nails done. It's the longest I've gone without getting a massage. But it's because I'm trying to get there faster. That's why.
Can I share my thing? One
Please.
thing with you. When you love your work so much and your team, you'll never get there because there's no there. Because
Okay,
it's your life.
good to know.
You're not going anywhere.
Good
It's
to
your
know.
life. You just
Good to know.
yeah. So because it's I think it's the passion. You could see how your eyes are
Yes.
shining and you love what you're doing.
I
It's
do,
normal.
and I love the team as well. They're phenomenal, and we did a big correction this year where we took out the non-performers on the team, and that was a tough decision because it started off as some were the ones who were there like from day one, but it's impacted the team so much in a good way, because also it's good that performers want to know that they're being recognized. And when you have a team of performers, it escalates. All of a sudden the business has gone towards what I've always wanted. I like daily meetings. I love them. We have a red table. We all sit around the red table and we have our daily meeting. Nobody calls in. Every now and again someone does, but it's all in person. If someone's on holiday, they don't call in. If somebody's on a business trip, they don't call in. But this is where we are all on the same page on a daily basis. I've always been told this is over the top, but I guarantee you, in any business that I've been in, it doesn't fail. Then the next step is the monthlies, and then the quarterlies, and the annuals, and the buddy system. You create a buddy system between one person and the other, ideally not in the same department, only for one person to check up on the other person and to say, are you okay today? It could be personal, it could be professional, it could be their boss, it could be something at home. Just that, how are you doing today, goes a long way, and it creates a sense of camaraderie. We've not done that yet. I've done it in other companies. We've now done the daily. We've perfected the daily. Now we go on to the buddy system, the monthly, the quarterly, and the annual.
You do care a lot about culture, I think, because I think being an entrepreneur, you need to love your people. That's
Yes.
another success for sure.
I heard a beautiful thing at this YPO seminar. We have something called Forum, where you're in the forum with others and you talk about
Yeah.
your what you're going through, because it's lonely at the top. And I think now it's getting lonely anywhere, not just at the top. And we create kind of the same concept. But I love the idea of, somebody said, make sure that you create a culture, not a cult. And I ran a business that was a cult, not a culture. A cult holds on to bad people, right? We all are there for the wrong reasons. Sometimes it says like, we're the underdog, we're the whatever. That's a cult. A culture is one that's based on success, doing good, giving back, coming to the office feeling like everybody's putting in their share. And, like the icing and the cake. So sometimes businesses look like they've got the icing, but not the cake.
Yeah.
Because they spent a lot of time on PR.
Yeah.
And you asked me that question before about PR. Publicity will come. But first, your cake has to be stable. Then work on the icing. Businesses that work on the icing without the cake tumble, right?
Absolutely.
So you build the cake and then you ice it.
And let people ice it for you on your behalf.
That too. And then you all share it.
And then you will share it.
And enjoy it.
And I think it's beautiful. I don't want to end. I have
great.
still a question. I have a question. I have to ask this. I have to, forgive me, I'm sure you had times when you wanted to give up, probably.
No.
What was your...
Never.
Never?
I'd never give up.
Right.
It's not in my vocabulary.
Right. So what's your oxygen mask then? What is one thing that gives you oxygen when you think it's challenging?
Reading.
That's
my oxygen mask. So I know that some people might say, I'm not saying that spending time with my kids does not give me oxygen. I'm not saying that spending time with my partner, my team, does not give me oxygen. All of that gives me oxygen. But we're talking about personal oxygen. That's why my only dream for my kids is to learn how to read and have the joy of reading. Nothing makes me happier than sitting with a good book, ideally fiction, and disappearing for an hour. That is my oxygen. That's why before I go to bed, I read. And by the way, in the morning, the first thing I do is I read a chapter of a fiction book. Not social media, not the news, my book.
Excellent. 3 questions I always ask all my guests. To be a successful entrepreneur, what do you need to do regularly? What you shouldn't be afraid of, and what to stay away from? So what to do regularly?
You have to be consistent. And I talked about the dailies. The dailies are critical because it puts everybody on the same page. Whether you do it remotely or not, it doesn't matter. But those are critical. As many people should be in the dailies as possible. Second is accountability. So with those dailies, somebody has to do it, and they have to do it within a period of time, and they have to be accountable for it. Accountable is not a bad word, because when they do it right, you're saying, well done. We forget sometimes to tell people that they've done a good job. We're very fast to criticize them, not good at rewarding them. So that would be my second. Reward the performers. And the third one is the buddy system, because people then feel protected within the organization. It's not out to get them, it's out there to protect them.
Beautiful. What about staying away from? What you should stay away from?
Bad performers or holding on to them too long. And I would have to say, as of yesterday, it's probably the nail in the coffin to say, don't work with friends.
Straight away, the question is what happened yesterday, but I think we'll leave it for the next episode.
Make friends at work.
But
You know,
don't start with friends.
don't start with friends.
And now what you shouldn't be afraid of?
Saying yes and working backwards from the yes. So that's a Richard Branson take. And don't be afraid of giving back, even when you're early in your journey. You can do it. You can do it with the smallest things. You could do it.
I have to thank you very much for this beautiful episode. You inspired me a lot. I think I had goosebumps running, I don't know, at least 10 times.
Thank you, Nina, for letting me tell my
Learn
story.
so much, and it's great. It's so many things to digest now, and daily something that I think from tomorrow daily we're gonna implement.
Do
That's
it.
for sure. I'm super happy to hear that. My work-life balance is not
Out the window like me.
so I have no time for any work for myself
Yes.
at all. So it's a lot of things I was thinking. Yes.
You're not alone.
I'm not
Yeah,
alone.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Nina. It's
Nisreen.
been lovely
Thank you.
to do this episode together and for letting me tell my story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is it? What's it? Are you cold?
I always have
Why
cold
you-
hands.
cold?
Always. Cold hands, warm hearts.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
That was
really,
so
honestly,
nice.
I enjoyed. I think
Hopefully
so.
we won't let him edit too much.
We're gonna change our episodes from 50 minutes to 1 and 2 hours, because this is really, it's like a school for me.
Yes.
I wish I
think
could
it's
take
good.
notes.
Yeah.